the game, with just being lacklustre on the press, and they just got that right. And he brought on Enzo Fernandez in the second half, and I think he does drive the press very, very well. He's an organiser. You watch him play live, and you see he's constantly moving his teammates around. And Chelsea missed that in the first half. And it come on, and just that little bit of 5%, which I said at half time, that tempo turns it into a very, very good away performance. The game's done now. Thursday night, Chelsea will go and walk through this team, which they should do, and we expect them to do. But it's just another little lesson, a little nudge for them lads in the first half. When you step onto the football pitch at any level, and especially when you've got the Chelsea badge on, there's going to be questions asked of you. The opposition will raise their game. It's a massive night for Copenhagen. And by scoring at the end, they kept themselves in the tie, in their eyes. But if Chelsea, it's all about Chelsea tonight. If they turn up and perform like they did in the second half, next week, Thursday night, becomes a nice, comfortable game, and they can ease into the quarter-final.
Yeah, and that will be the aim, of course. They put themselves there and his side. And I wonder what he said at half-time. I hope we're going to ask him that, because it was a very different Chelsea in the second half, and they started with that urgency with the goal.
He would have asked for urgency. He would have probably given his team a little bit, because they looked like they coasted a little bit, which is understandable. It can happen, when you're going into places which I would say complacency can creep in, particularly in this competition for Chelsea, because they've been so faultless going through the group stage. But a little tactical tweak, bringing Enzo Fernandez on, I think, like I said, I think it needed a talker in there. It needed someone to just move people around, make sure that they was on it. I just feel a bit sorry for the young fella.
Yeah, Kuka.
Mweka, because he will have a big future. But when you first game, you want to get on the ball, and they couldn't find a way to get him on the ball in the first half. So I felt for him, but overall, a decent performance, and on we march.
Well, this is the strength of the Chelsea squad, isn't it? You can give a young lad like Mweka a chance, and then bring on the big hitters in the second half to see out the game. And that's exactly what happened. Experienced players like James and Enzo winning the game, go back home to Stamford Bridge, and as Joe said, you finish off the job. Important as well for Chelsea, because they have been so bad away from home. I think this was a good test of character for Chelsea to get a good result. Tough crowd, good organised team, and carry on that run as much as they can.
Yeah, that should definitely give them some confidence. And as you say, with the young player, Mweka, he'll get his opportunities. But it's all part of the experience, isn't it? It's all part of his learning curve. And the more he plays, the more he wants to play, and the more we'll see of him. Let's talk about that first goal then, because it was instantaneous. As soon as we got into the second half, Reece James, such an important player for Chelsea when he's fit. Talk me through this one, Annie.
Yeah, I think Cucurella does really well here. You see him just sort of overlaps, and I just love this cutback here. It's a smart cutback, and it doesn't need too much power. It's just the direction. It's a really smart finish, Joe, because it's almost like Reece James sees that gap, and the defender's in the way of the goalkeeper's line of sight. Goalkeeper sort of, can't get his feet sorted. And then Reece James just edges it into that corner, just guides it into that corner. Really smart finish.
Yeah, he'll strike better, cleaner balls, Reece James. And what he does well, he keeps it down and he hits the target. It gives you a chance. The goalkeeper was missighted. He's trying to look around the defence. When you see goalkeepers and they're looking round to see straight away their body is off balance, and then you can get beaten by a shot from distance without much power. It's great to see Reece James back amongst the goals.
And that's it, because he's Chelsea through and through, youth product. You'll have known him for so many years. And, his career has been blighted by injury. He missed 59 games since the start of last season. That is, pretty much the whole campaign, isn't it, really, when you pick it out. And for a player, it's so hard to try and keep your spirits up in that period. You've got to have a real sort of mental strength to be able to just focus and to have your eyes on the prize, which is to just come back and play regular football.
It's really, really tough. I had experienced injuries at the back end of my career, and it was really tough then. But to have them at the front end of your career when you're trying to establish yourself like Reece, and to keep breaking down in the manner that he has, he'd have been to some dark places, that's for sure. And I know, like, the world is what the world is at the moment, and people might think an injured footballer, but when your identity is tied into being a footballer and being Reece James the footballer, and you can't do it, and you're trying to figure, it's like trying to put a puzzle together. It's really, and I know he's got a good family behind him that support him. I think he looked really, really healthy tonight.
Yeah.
Like his body shape and his face. I like to see Reece James when he's leaner. Less time in the gym, play football, recover. Tranquilo.
They've probably changed that, actually. You know, they've probably looked at it.
Well done. I'm impressed.
They've probably looked at it and gone, why does he keep breaking down, right?
Yeah.
And I think the Chelsea performance team behind the scenes have probably gone, listen, what you eating, you know, what you're doing in the gym.
Yeah.
All of the sort of the 360 athlete, and he looks better. He's just got to keep that consistency now. He's a leader in the team, and that goal would have really lifted him today.
Yeah, that's it. He's the leader, but he's so versatile, even in his position as a right back. But there's so much he can do on the ball. He was seen as the future of Chelsea, certainly sort of in the Tuchel era and just before then. And the injuries have been so unfortunate. How special is he in your eyes, do you think, as a footballer, when he's at his absolute best?
Well, at his peak, we were just talking about it off air. I mean, he was the number one right back for England, right? You know, certainly keeping Trent Alexander-Arnold out of the team, you know, because I think the defensive side, he edged it over Trent. So when Reece James is on top form and he can stay consistent, he's as good as any right back in the world. But the big part for me is the leadership bit as well. You know, he's quite a quiet lad, but Chelsea need that in a young team. They need someone to be that leader, to be that presence. And I think he looks like he's coming more into that role as well for Chelsea.
Yeah, you can be a quiet leader. You know, you don't have to be shouting and hollering. You know, Reece James would have the respect of he's a player's player. He'd have the respect of all of the players because of what he can do technically, physically. And when he was at his best, he was as good as anything there is in the world, no doubt about that. It's just about, for him, I feel it's sort of finding his inner peace and just you know, playing football. Manage him into games. You're right, Resh, he can play in midfield. He went on loan to Wigan and played in the Championship in midfield. I think he got Player of the Year there as a young kid. You know, so he's actually being used more, rotating in from fullback in there, and he looks comfortable. He's got so much to offer Chelsea. He's got so much to offer England, and it's just great to see him impacting the game like he is tonight. I mean, people shouldn't give up on Reece James because there's still a real world-class player in there. That's going to be a massive player for Chelsea if he can just do whatever he's doing now, just keep doing it.
And is Chelsea the right place for him at this moment in terms of getting the game time? There is so much competition all round in every single position at Chelsea. I mean, is that the right place? Whilst he does have the love of the crowd, of everyone who's associated with the club, is it the right place for him to be able to get that game time and hone his skills and just be able to get the regular games that he needs to get back to his top level?
I think so. I mean, he's been there since he was, 10, you know, since the academy. So this is home for him, Chelsea, and this is where he's plied his trade. He's had his ups and downs, and I think it's now just about, you know, being that leader in what is a really young team, and being that guy that, you know, wins matches, scores goals, and I think the big thing for him is, can he stay fit for a season? And I think we'll see the Reece James that we're used to seeing.
Yeah, it'll be good to see the Reece James that we've had so many glimpses and flashes of just what he can produce. And I think all Chelsea fans will want to see that. Something Chelsea fans were glad that they didn't see was a Copenhagen goal just after that Reece James strike, because there was a chance. They hit the post, didn't they?
Yeah,
really close.
They were good at this end, weren't they? They were running forward. He's got across. You don't get any closer than that. He's done everything right. Not happy with the distances between the back three, back four. There's a lack of concentration. But it's a great run. He exposes it. He does everything right. Goes across him. You know, when it's your day, and it just drops into Sanchez's arms.
Yeah, I think second half there was a few moments in the first half they sort of played on the counter from that tactical block, and that is unfortunate. I mean, he's done everything he can there, but it just didn't go in. But you know, I think Chelsea just stepped it up, and it was a bit too much for Copenhagen in the second half.
Yeah, and they stepped it up again via Enzo Fernandez, and this was like a really well-worked goal, wasn't it?
Yeah, I really like this part of Enzo Fernandez's game. I think when he came to Chelsea, obviously he was sort of playing in this deep sort of defensive mid position, didn't really look like he was influencing games. This is where I think he goes to another level. Get in the box, get in there with the forwards, and he'll score goals. You know, sort of take the handbrake off him, you know, from that midfield position. I think this is where we're seeing the Enzo Fernandez, the 100 million price tag that Chelsea paid. This is where we're starting to see a return on that investment.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I think he needs to be played from a deeper position to use his game intelligence, but he also needs to be freed up, like Annie said, because to arrive in the box and score goals. I don't think he's a number 10 in the sense where he's going to play with his back to goal or get it on the half turn and beat someone in the tie. He can do it. I don't think it's his specialty. His specialty is his game intelligence, the way he can dictate the play, and also that he'll time runs and he'll score enough goals to be a real threat. And this was a good finish there because he had to open his body and sort of lift it. So he's a very intelligent finisher. That 5 goals in 32 appearances will go up now he's playing in this new role.
Yeah. He arrived, as you say, with that £100 million price tag, the most expensive player in the Premier League, with a World Cup winners' medal around his neck. He's sort of had patches, but this is probably the best we're seeing him in, do you think, in this position now? He's kind of found his feet?
I think so. I mean, you have to remember, he's coming in with that massive, which is very difficult for players. He's a young man who's only just come over to Europe. He was 6 months at Benfica, won the World Cup. All of a sudden, he's at Chelsea, and everyone thinks, right, plug in, you go in there now. You're going to be Frank Lampard or Cesc Fabregas or Ballack, or you know, he needs to still develop and learn. And so we're watching him get better. And will he achieve? Will he become? Will people look back and go, that's good value for money? Only time will tell. But what he has got, which I think sets him apart from the other midfielders, when I watch him off the ball, he seems like he's a reader. He's a general. You know, he's pushing and all that. So I think he'll be fine. I think he's a top player, and I think it's good that we're seeing more and more the best of him.
Yeah, it's interesting because we've just talked about Reece James and Enzo Fernandez, the goal scorers. They're 24 and 25 years old, and yet we talk about them as if they're the big leaders, they're the senior members, and they actually are in the team. It's a big responsibility on young shoulders because they are still young.
That's been the model for Chelsea. You know, the average age for Chelsea is the youngest in the Premier League, and so the lads that are 25, 26 are sort of the OGs, the old guys in the team. But that's what you need. Every team needs that. Every team needs those guys that have had the experience of played at World Cups, played away in difficult places to push the team forward. And I think we saw that from Enzo and Reece James tonight.
Yeah, we certainly did. It wasn't the perfect night, though, because we did see some warning signs in the first half, and certainly this one will ring a little bit of an alarm going into that second leg. They did let Copenhagen back in.
Yeah, again, it's a set piece, which will be very difficult. They timed. There's a great ball in first and foremost. He's putting in, but no one taking charge of the situation there. No one dealing with it. That's something that can be worked on. Levi Colwill just gets himself underneath the ball there. It's a good header. And Sanchez, no chance. But there was enough there to suggest that if Chelsea are going to improve, wherever they're going to finish up, they improve. There's enough places within their game they can improve, and defending from set pieces is one of them. They got better and they're getting better, but in games like that, especially if you're Sanchez who's coming in, you want to keep a clean sheet. Just to start that, getting back that aura of invincibility.
Okay. Well, that is the aim, and the aim today was to get a good result. That's what they did get. Lots of questions asked about Enzo Maresca.